COVID-19 and Children, Part 2. Prevention and how preventive measures differ in children of different age group. Being alive is supremely important. So is living your life to the fullest. With that in mind, in this video, we are going to learn about the other mode of transmission and whether it is dangerous or not. Also, why is it not possible to apply the adult COVID-19 preventive measures in case of children, and what are the main differences? If some of you are thinking, why is it important to know all these things now, or why is it necessary to know at all? There are three main reasons. The first reason is, we are all in the next big wave of COVID cases, neck deep, and cases are increasing astronomically already. And the second reason is, all the parents who are sending their children to the school amid rising cases of COVID and otherwise. Now if they are worried about their children catching COVID, how should they go about that? And the third reason is travel with children. All parents who are planning to travel in public transport for long distances, what best practices can keep their children safe and the risk of catching COVID in these travels. To know all these and much more, stay tuned till the end. In the previous video, we saw how we can divide the discussion on COVID-19 and children into two parts on the basis of quote, prevention is better than cure. First, disease versus cure, and second part, transmission versus prevention. In the last video, as part of disease versus cure, we discussed already in detail about how COVID-19 manifests in children and how to diagnose it and treat it. In this video, we will look into second part, that is transmission versus prevention. If you haven't watched the previous videos on COVID, watch them after this to get a total picture, and also comment below on what you want to know regarding COVID-19 in coming videos, along with how all this information might have helped you in the comment section below. To know prevention, you have to first know how the SARS-CoV-2 virus is transmitted. Transmission. We all know how COVID-19 is transmitted by now. Well, most of us do. And we also have discussed before on how virus is transmitted from person to person by airborne mode or through contact with contaminant. There is another way by which virus can be transmitted. Although not that important and not that common, but still there is another way of transmission to the newborns. Any guesses? Yes, vertical transmission from mother to child during delivery. As only a few cases of mother to newborn transmission during delivery have been published, and even lesser complications in the infected newborns are reported, no additional recommendations exist for the prevention during delivery other than the usual ones. Apart from isolation of infected mother along with the newborn from other non-infected mothers and their children, nothing else is recommended. Once we know modes of transmission, now let's see how to prevent them. And some might say, it is simple. Wear masks, maintain social distancing, avoid crowded and enclosed spaces, avoid contact with contaminants, and keep your hands clean by frequently washing and sanitizing, and by avoiding touching your face. Well, if you knew that, give yourself a pat on your back. And last 1 year hasn't been a waste. But is it that simple? And for how long can anyone stop living their normal life? And for how long can anyone follow all the regulations stringently? For 6 months? For 1 year maybe? Or maybe for 1.5 years? And what after that? Remember, we are not talking about adults here, but about your children. By now, you all might have found out that making children follow any of the above is not at all easy. So let's see, if and only when the best practices are not attainable, what is the next best thing which can be achieved? As certain preventive measures differ depending on age of the children, so the discussion will be in three parts based on age groups. Group A includes newborns and infants, B, toddlers, and Group C is constituted by schoolers and adolescents. First, coming to masks. Masks in newborns and infants are not recommended below 2 years of age. Thus, newborns and infants should not be made to wear them, even when in public places, for three reasons. 1. For the risk of asphyxiation. 2. Due to their ineffectiveness in view of children at this age not being able to wear them properly, along with 3. For lack of availability of masks in the market which are custom manufactured for this age. Next, coming to toddlers. Recommendations for wearing masks in toddlers vary based on organizations. Check your local recommendations. While WHO recommends 5 years onwards, CDC recommends it about 2 years of age. So what should a parent follow? WHO or CDC or your local recommendation? As you know your child best based on your assessment of your child's understanding, you should try and make them or her wear the mask at the earliest age possible, only above the age group of 2 years, not below it. If a child below 5 years wears a mask, a parent or a guardian should always be within direct line of sight to supervise their safe use of mask. Next, coming to masks in relation to schoolers and adolescents. All 6 years and above school-going children and adolescents should wear masks while in public places, including in public transport vehicles, schools and colleges. Second, coming to hygiene. Hygiene in relation to newborns and infants. Parents should ensure their hand hygiene every time before coming in contact with their babies and their things. This will maintain enough hygiene for newborns and infants. Hygiene in relation to toddlers. Hand hygiene and avoiding touching your face should be followed as best as your child can follow. And lastly, toddlers can be taught to a good extent on how to properly and frequently clean their hands and avoid touching their face as much as possible. Coming to hygiene in relation to schoolers and adolescents. Schoolers and adolescent children should maintain hand hygiene and avoid touching their face in public places, as well as other hygiene practices should be strictly followed. Parents should pack sanitizer along with school bags and should remind and encourage frequent use of it. Third, coming to social aspects of COVID prevention. Before going into details of it, and with the next wave of COVID-19 around the corner, we should first understand that almost nothing is more important than surviving an adversity, but so is living your life to its fullest potential and possibilities. Now, to know how to balance both aspects, let's see. As newborns and infants anyway do not mingle with other than family members, if guardians taking care of them maintain social distancing, avoid crowded and enclosed spaces, and also keep the baby away from probable contaminant places, safety from SARS-CoV-2 can be ensured easily. Now coming to preventive social aspects in relation to toddlers. As children at this age are very active, playing is as important as social distancing, if not more. So need to balance both in the safest way possible. Guardians and parents themselves can spend more time by playing with their toddlers, and second is by forming a social bubble, regarding which we will discuss next. Now coming to preventive social aspects in relation to schoolers and adolescents. Schoolers and adolescents should maintain all the preventive social aspects as recommended for adults. Although 1 year was a long time for all the school-going kids and adolescents without meeting their friends, now we are all happy that lockdown has been relaxed. But preparedness for many more inevitable waves of COVID and its variants which are expected is advantageous. Everyone along with adults should balance their socializing activities when restrictions are lifted and following all the local regulations for congregation and travel when enforced. As local COVID restrictions will constantly be waxing and waning based on regional COVID pattern, everyone should be updated in order to be safe as possible. Now coming to social bubble. Now how to form a social bubble and what is a social bubble? Your family along with few friends and family members about whom you are sure of that they too are as responsible and sincere as you are in following all aspects of preventive measures. With them and with their children, your child can be allowed to play with appropriate preventive measures, of course. And other than these people, you should avoid mingling with the rest. Whenever there is movement restriction, this is the best way to avoid getting infected with SARS-CoV-2. Note, the social bubble mentioned above should be practiced only if regional lockdown rules allow. If not, everyone should follow strictly the restrictions announced by the regional authorities. This completes part 2 of COVID-19 and children. Part 3 will consist of Q&A segment in which we are going to discuss when will the COVID vaccines be available for children and more regarding COVID vaccines for kids. What needs to be done in regards to children if caretakers are suspected or confirmed with COVID-19. What needs to be done if child is tested positive and guardians are tested negative. What precautions are to be taken in regarding to school-going children, both while traveling and in school. How safe is public transport and attending crowded get-togethers like marriages and birthday parties for children, and what are age-specific preventive measures to be taken, and more. If you have liked what we are discussing regarding COVID-19 and children and want to know more, and if you don't want to miss the upcoming Q&A session in which we are going to discuss questions asked by actual parents, like, share and subscribe Tejam and hit the bell icon below so that you don't miss the next videos. Thank you.